Welcome back to some more WalkMan and Doctor Doomsday stories from Slightly Cold Waffles. It is the Rosy Pair talking. Yes, it is. I know, you missed me so much. It's been 24 hours since I last talked to you, and you definitely do not care. Let's skip over me and get to part 4 of our storytelling with Doctor Doomsday and WalkMan. Part 4. Until death do us part. The front row of the synagogue looked like a comic book team-up story, with dozens of heroes and villains alike. I could see Battler Boy, Mr. Justice, Frozen Flash, and other members of the League of Heroes all seated together on the left-hand side. On the right, other villains like Magma Carter and Toxic Masculinity seated, sprawled out in feigned disinterest but clearly emotional. I watched as a single tear rolled down Magma Carter's face, sizzling as it boiled away. I saw my own arch-nemesis seated near the aisle on the left. I strode to the empty spot next to him, swept my black morning lab coat out of the way, and sat next to WalkMan. He gave me a quick glance and nodded in the traditional, "Hello, acquaintance," upward gesture. "WalkMan," I said in a hushed tone, returning the greeting. We sat in silence for a while, just listening to the rabbi and his eulogy. While he was speaking English, I was moved at how the holy man was painting a story picture of Gotta Crack 'em All, the supervillain that had indiscriminately butchered his victims with a Pokemon-themed sledgehammer. But somehow he did. When the rabbi switched to Hebrew, I leaned over to WalkMan and whispered, "Did you know Crack was Jewish?" WalkMan shook his head, lightly jiggling his narrow Bluetooth headphones. I knew it was only one of his many audio devices, but it was the smallest one that didn't clash with his funeral suit. No, he never talked about his spiritual side with any of us either. I continued, ignoring the nasty glares from some of the non-supers behind us. It's odd, isn't it? Gotta Crack 'em All was part of my Eagle League of Evil, and I knew less about him than I know about you. WalkMan muttered under his breath. Maybe because he never tried to kill you? I smiled. He had a point. Crackham never did swing his sledgehammer at me. The worst he ever did was try to cheat on poker night, but that was expected of a villain. He really did bring the whole city together in a way, I rambled to WalkMan and anyone else close enough to hear. When he started that Pokemon Go murder spree, it really made people go out in groups. Brought the community together. I intertwined my metallic fingers in a gesture that I meant to mean unity, to mixed results. WalkMan nodded. He always had the best puns. My son Steve always asked to hear them whenever I fought with Crackham, he said softly. I grinned. Glad you've bonded with the boy so well, WalkMan. WalkMan shot a glare at me. I quickly backpedaled from his building parental rage. It wasn't a threat. I would never hurt your boy, I said a bit louder than I intended. I heard a shush come from Toxic Masculinity, which I identified by the acidic spit that accompanied the noise. I shot him a dirty glare and went back to my inside voice. All rise for the deceased, the rabbi said. Most of us stood, some floated, others remained seated. I rose and folded my hands in front of my belt buckle respectfully. To my surprise, WalkMan stood and walked up to the casket, along with 5 villains. I saw him touch a single button on his headphones and vaguely heard the opening piano of Up Where We Belong from his bone conduction headphones. I smiled to myself as the pallbearers lifted the enormous casket and walked the remains outside to the graveyard. WalkMan really did care about his enemies, even after they tried to kill him repeatedly. And in this case, he had possibly even become a friend. Good, I thought as I followed the crowd outside. My plan to lure WalkMan to my Doom Squad could proceed to step 2. I can only wonder what part 2 or step 2 of this little plan is for Doctor Doomsday. What does he have planned for WalkMan? And it can only make me fear what it could possibly be. But on the upside, it's good that WalkMan is having such an amazing relationship with his newfound son. It's just so cute. I wonder what Walkman and Steve's relationship is like. I mean, now that Gotta Correct 'em All, awesome name by the way, is gone, he doesn't have any amazing puns to give his kid. And he doesn't really have the dad ability to get dad jokes going, does he? I mean, maybe dad jokes are just a thing that just suddenly appear. You can just start doing them. But I cannot wait for next Friday so that we can read some more of this. I know we've read like 2 or 3 of these stories already, and I've already put them up in the videos, but it's so awesome reading these stories from the beginning because they're just it's like reading Harry Potter out of order. You won't understand what's going on completely, but at least Tumblr is there to fill in the blanks. Anyway, guys, let's get on to the part where I cannot read, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye! Which I identified by the acidic. I quickly backpedaled from his blinding building parental rage. Up where we belong from his bone construction headphones.